Okay, so I was not expecting this to actually drop today at all. I was really not expecting this to drop, and oh man, this trailer looks absolutely insane. I thought the first trailer was like honestly crazy, just incredible, but this trailer right here is definitely by far so much better because we actually hear Rick Grimes talking. We actually get a lot more of a storyline here, and we kind of know a lot of well, there was one part that I was a little more worried about, and that was that Rick and Major General Beale wouldn't necessarily be, you know, like enemies. Like I was sort of worried about that one aspect to it, but this trailer here seems to confirm that no, Major General Beale is an enemy. He is keeping Rick there, and Rick says, "I'm getting home." Like there's a lot in here that I do want to talk about. So obviously, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. Again, whenever stuff like this drops, I'll do a video on it immediately. I wasn't expecting this to actually drop today. I thought we would get some sort of exclusive scene. I figured it would be like a 30-second to a minute scene, but it was actually the final trailer. So, you know, this being the final trailer before the show premieres in exactly 1 month today, I think that means that there's going to be a lot of things coming. So first of all, I think they will actually release the first 10 minutes of The Ones Who Live. I have no confirmation on that or anything. I'm just really speculating, but they did that with Daryl Dixon. They may have done that with Dead City, but I'm not sure. That could have been a new thing with Daryl Dixon, and a lot of people really like that. So I could see them doing the same thing here with this show here, is releasing 10 minutes or something like that, the opening minutes. Like they always did that with The Walking Dead. They always released opening minutes for every episode, right? So I could see them doing that here for The Ones Who Live, and that could happen in the next week or two. Again, we're 4 weeks away basically until the show premieres. So it's like, it's whatever's going to drop in the next, like, you know what I mean? Like they've updated everything, all the social media stuff, everything has the new key art, which I guess I should talk about right away. This is the new key art, which absolutely just incredible stuff. Looks really insane. Again, very cinematic feeling and everything. And all of the posters so far, like I don't have a poster yet. You know what? That's a really good idea because I will be in my videos and stuff, and I will be doing live streams and stuff on Twitch. So I think what I will be doing is actually getting a poster for that and putting that up. I'm going to actually make a note of that. The early reviews for the first couple of episodes, for the first 3 episodes, will be out on February 14th. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff that does come out over the next like 4 weeks or so. So if you want all my breakdowns on everything, definitely make sure to be a subscriber. And if you are interested in supporting the channel and stuff like that, then definitely make sure to hit the join button down below. I will be uploading that video today. It's going to be a video sort of updating you guys on just like everything that's been going on and stuff like that, and talking about the last month and whatnot. And yeah, again, I appreciate all the support a lot. But let's actually get into the trailer here. So this trailer opens up with this shot of Rick. And again, I actually really did not know what I was watching. Like I didn't even see the part where it said final trailer. I just saw that there was a new thing, like basically footage. And so the opening shot here, it really takes you into what the episode's actually going to feel like. And it's actually like this scene of, you see this walker actually coming up to, I guess, this brick wall here. And then you see Rick Grimes here. Now, I'm just going to say this because a lot of people are pointing this out. And I've sort of, at first, I actually did believe this. I actually believed at first that Rick did lose his hand. But then I all of a sudden started to see other footage and all that. And I was like, there's no way. But I will point out in that very first teaser, it seemed off that we just never saw his left hand. Like they kept hiding it constantly, and I was like, there's something off here. And when you actually look at the trailer, this one shot right here, it looks like he doesn't have his left hand. And there's actually other shots, and we'll talk about that once we do get there. But when you're looking at this one shot right here, I mean, comparing it to everyone else who's wearing the same jacket, first of all, they're all wearing the same gloves. Like they're all wearing those same type of those work gloves, and the way it sort of sits on your hand, like there's no way that jacket's going to be going over the glove, right? So when you're looking at Rick here, his left hand, it's missing, right? Like it's clearly missing here. Like I do think that he actually is going to lose his hand here. And there's actually a shot later on where it really does seem like it. So it seems like they're going to be doing the storyline from the comic, which is something that people have been wanting for a long time. Well, people have been wanting it, but there's been people who are like, no, Rick can't lose his hand. And the reason that I've always heard or just, you know, got from people was that it was because Rick couldn't really, like, he wasn't that awesome if he had just one hand. And I was just like, that is so ridiculous to say. Like, they're like, yeah, well, he can't be, you know, as cool if he's missing one hand and whatever. And comic Rick was more of an old man kind of thing. And I'm like, you know, like, I think that's just so insane to say. Like, Rick losing his hand in the comic didn't do anything. Like, there was the whole All Out War arc. There was all of that. He didn't have his hand for any of that. For like most of the Governor arc, he didn't have his hand in the comic. So like, that's not true at all. That's literally not true. Like, when Rick became like old man Rick, that was after the time jump, and that was more of a story thing. Like, this show, this version of Rick Grimes is so different. So for me, you know, the fact that they're doing this is a nod to the comic. If it does happen, again, like, I'm just looking at the trailer here and it does really seem like it, but maybe his hand is just injured and it's just kind of covered up. Like, they could be tricking us. We'll have to see. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I will say, I actually think, at least a theory that I have, is that it was Major General Beale that did it, because in the comic, it was the governor who did it. And I think here it's going to make a lot of sense for Beale to have done it, because it's likely punishment for Rick escaping, right? Rick did escape, and if you remember in that final scene of The Walking Dead, he did have his hand, right? Like, he had both hands. So I'm assuming that was punishment for leaving. And so that's just, yeah, very brutal, but I think it's going to immediately make Major General Beale look like a villain, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's how episode 1 ends. Honestly, like, I could totally see episode 1 ending with Rick losing his hand. We then see the shot of Michonne here, and this is where it really feels like so crazy cinematic. And I talked about this in a previous video, but I was like, I figured that Michonne was shooting that like harpoon-like gun to like, maybe because she saw someone that looked like Rick, and so she was like trying to pull that walker out of the crowd. But no, it looks like she just sort of shot like not a rocket launcher, but something like that anyways. And yeah, I don't know why there's all of these walkers here. I'm not sure how this is related to the story at all. I'm guessing this could be CRM related, but she is looking for Rick, it seems like. I feel like this shot right here is something that is going to be happening very, very early on. And yeah, just really incredible to see Michonne actually like looking for Rick. And yeah, I think this is going to be early on. And then we actually have a shot here of his boot, which is very cool. So again, I think a lot of this is episode 1 stuff right here. A lot of emotion in this trailer. That's the one thing that I noticed immediately. It was that there is a lot of emotion here in the trailer in terms of Rick and Michonne trying to find each other. And I haven't really felt it as much. Like, obviously we know that they're trying to find each other and that there's all this emotion, but it just kind of felt like there wasn't a lot of talk about, like, you know, how long they haven't seen each other for, and a lot of that, and just how desperate they are to actually, you know, see each other. And it wasn't just Michonne trying to find Rick. Like we're seeing that in the trailer as well, but Rick saying, I'm getting home. Like, I am trying to get home. And this one shot of Michonne here, she's tearing up. It's actually, this line here is really cool. She says, I lost someone years ago. Now I'm looking for him. And I love that, because yeah, it's been like, you know, it's been 10 years. And I actually wonder if they're going to acknowledge that in the show, that it's been 10 years, or if they're just going to say years. Because I feel like with The Walking Dead and timelines, they're just not the best at it. And then we have this one shot here of, I'm guessing this is Philadelphia. This seems to be, I mean, I don't know what this place is exactly. I don't know if this is for the military, because it seems like the Civic Republic, like the actual Civic Republic, is safe and it's very, very normal. Like, this place here, I mean, there might not be any walkers here, which is kind of insane. Like, it might be totally cleared out, but it might be more for the military. We'll have to wait and see. You know, I feel like if this was more like, you know, no walkers around or anything like that, I feel like it would have been better kept. Like, it just kind of looks like everything is sort of still kind of destroyed. So to me, I feel like this is something that the military, or maybe the Civic Republic, is working on, trying to like keep this place, you know, or save this place, I guess. But I do think the Civic Republic is probably, like, I think this is mostly the military. But yeah, then we have a shot here of Rick, and he's looking at this helicopter, and again, just another iconic shot of Rick looking at a helicopter. And it's, yeah, obviously it's just really cool, just because, I mean, there's a lot of shots of Rick looking at the CRM helicopters, so just getting another shot like this is just kind of cool to see. But then we get this one shot here, and this is the thing that I was talking about here. So again, this is connected to the previous scene. Rick is killing walkers here, and he doesn't have a hand here. Like, it's clear that he doesn't actually have a hand here. The previous shot in the trailer actually had this shot more close up. This one's like zoomed out more. So I think before, that was intentional. They didn't want you to see that he was missing a hand. And I think it's possible that, in the last however bit since they released the trailer, that they were like, you know what, let's just sort of put this out there. For Walking Dead fans that are going to be like, like me breaking down the trailers and people really analyzing a lot of this here, like we'll just kind of leave that in there for that. But most people who see this, they might not catch that right away. And so I think this is proof right here. I mean, if you're just looking at, just how he's killing the walkers, like he sort of has that tool that he's using, like rested on his arm, right? Like I think it makes a lot of sense. And at this point here, I am convinced. So at first I thought, yes, it seems like he's losing his hand. And then a lot of people were saying, no, that makes no sense. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think you're right, because I did look at this scene, and the scenes that I was talking about, yeah, you can clearly see that he still has his hand there. But now that we see this, I do think that he has lost his hand, like for sure. And then there's this one shot here of Rick, which is just like, again, I think this is at some point in the future. There's that one shot where we see that person, if you remember in a previous TV spot, the person like opens the door. It's CRM soldier or what have you. I speculated that it was Rick. I think it actually is Rick now, because if you look behind him, there's a door there. I think it's just him, getting back from, maybe killing walkers or doing some sort of military thing. He's coming home here. He just misses, Michonne and Judith. Obviously, he doesn't know RJ exists yet, which he will find out about. But as of now, he just, he misses his family. And you could see him tearing up here, and he's saying, I'm not going to stop trying. I won't stop. I'm getting there. I'm getting home. And like that line right there, when he said that, combined with, I think it was this shot specifically of Rick Grimes, like I was like, okay, this is the first time I've really felt, in all the promotion, that like Rick is trying to get home, because it has really felt like the entire time. And obviously I'm assuming he's trying to get home, but like it's really like we haven't seen a lot of that in a lot of the teasers and stuff, right? Like it's just always been Rick's missing and like what's going on with Rick. And with this teaser here, it's like he's actually trying to get home. Like he's not going to stop believing. And obviously like we're assuming that that's the case, but actually seeing him say it, just be like, I'm getting there, I'm getting home, and he actually mentions Michonne at one point in the trailer. It was just like, it felt so real. It felt like, okay, he's actually trying to get home. And I do think that line where he says Michonne, obviously he is with Michonne in that scene, right? Like he's actually talking to her. So like that's confirmation right there that they are reuniting. Obviously we knew that was going to happen, but that was the first time in a very long time that we've seen Rick actually talk to Michonne, right? So then we get some other shots here of, just Michonne and Nat. A lot of footage that we've seen before in the previous trailer. We have another shot right here of whatever this is here. This seems to be a military base now. I originally, when I first saw this, I was like, well, this has to be like a flashback of some kind, because there's no way that the Civic Republic, looks like this. But no, this actually is a Civic Republic. If you're actually looking at it, like you got to remember the Civic Republic formed after the apocalypse happened, right? It was within the first couple of months or something afterwards. And the old government like gave it powers and stuff like that. Like there's a bunch of stuff there. So this is actually from the current timeline. So yeah, just incredible to see this, like the fact that it actually looks this insane, and it's so believable too that the military would be this powerful. And it's amazing to actually see the CRM come to life, because this idea was obviously like years in the making, and years ago it kind of felt like we were never going to get anything like this, like an idea of them doing something so big like this. They're not going to do it right. Like the CGI deer from back in the day looked horrible. Like there's no way they're going to be able to do stuff like this, but we're getting stuff like this, right? Like they're actually doing it right. So then we start to get into some new footage here. So we actually see Major General Beale talking to his troops here, and they say like, yes, sir, or whatever. And they're all yelling it. So obviously Rick is yelling that as well. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see, because the thing about Rick, like for us, we're going to be like, well, out of all of them like standing there, Rick is the one that's going to stand out, right? Like he's going to be the one that fights back, or he's not going to like necessarily listen to Major General Beale, but no, he has to. His survival depends on it. He's trying to get back home, right? So it's going to be crazy to see Rick like just as a soldier listening to Major General Beale and doing everything that he says. He does fight back though. We do see that in the trailer. And I actually really like the line where Rick says like, why do you think I'm going to go along with all of this? And Major General Beale says, because everything will change. And so there is an actual thing here that the Civic Republic is trying to do. The military has a goal that it is trying to accomplish here. And that's why he has full confidence that Rick, he is going to fall in line, because that's just the way the world is going, and he's sort of going to be forced to. So I'm really interested in what exactly their goal is here, because like that is just honestly, that's that confidence from him. That's actually like that's hilarious. Like he's actually so confident that the world is going to change, that the Civic Republic military is actually going to achieve what they want, which I guess he doesn't really have any other reason to believe it's not going to happen, right? Like they're super powerful. And then we get this shot here, which is, I don't really know, like obviously where this is. This obviously is very, this looks a lot like The Walking Dead that we've known for years, and it's really cool to see. I will say, just looking at it like this, there's a few things that I noticed. If you actually look at that house that's right there, like the grass is actually cut around it and it looks more fresh. So whoever's staying here obviously has just been sort of keeping up with everything here, and this could be literally like Major General Beale's house or something like that. Or maybe this is something that we just see that is sort of connected to a scene coming up right away, and we'll get into that right away. But then we see some of the footage that we got before where we just see obviously Michonne and her group getting attacked by the Civic Republic military. We then get this shot here of Philadelphia, and we see like the windmills here and everything. So again, everything is just like they're that powerful, like they have all those resources, right? And then we see Jadis here, and she actually references a line that was said in World Beyond, which is like, we are the last light of the world or something like that. So her actually saying that here, I have been seeing some people say that you should watch World Beyond before you watch this show. Like a lot of things are going to make sense or something like that. So I'm kind of curious in going back to watch it. I don't know if I will, but I'm just kind of curious on like exactly why. I know a lot of the stuff with the Civic Republic military, like they get into a lot of like stuff that would be in The Ones Who Live in season 2 of that show. I don't know if I can go back to watch that show again because it was hard to watch. But yeah, very cool to see Jadis. We actually see her more in the trailer, but we'll talk about that in a second. We have this one shot of this newer character. Again, I don't know what his name is, but he seems to be a pilot with the Civic Republic military. So I'm actually wondering if maybe he was the pilot that originally brought Rick to the CRM. Like maybe they're doing that. Like that would be honestly kind of cool, just to sort of like add a little bit more to the story and all that. Like that would be honestly really incredible. And then we get this one shot here of Michonne, and I believe in this scene here, she is actually talking with Rick. I think at this point they have reunited and they've both escaped the Civic Republic military. They're probably on the run or whatever, and that's just kind of what I'm guessing based off of like the trailers and stuff like that. We see this shot of Michonne where she actually like she gets out of like a yellow truck, and she is wearing the same jacket here. So I think at this point Michonne and Rick have escaped. I think there's a connection with Jadis where Jadis is actually trying to find them, and that's why I think in this scene here Michonne's actually talking with Rick here. And yeah, we'll get to that in a second here. But another shot here of Rick, he's very, very angry, and this seems to be just after he's done killing walkers and whatnot, and he's really, again, he throws this table here, and he specifically throws it with his right hand. So I think that's more proof that he does actually lose his hand. And then we get Major General Beale here, who kills a walker and just seems very happy about it. Another shot here of Rick looking at the windmills here, and I guess a shot like this kind of almost confirms to me that maybe Philadelphia is just sort of the place that everyone is staying. Maybe the Civic Republic is staying there. It's not the military necessarily. It is actually just like the residents of the Civic Republic, like all 250,000 people, right? Because we get this shot here of Rick, and you just look at just what he's looking at behind him here. Yeah, it just seems like this is Philadelphia here. And then we get this shot here, which we talked about before, and I just wanted to point out that it just looks absolutely insane. Like they're actually going to the mountains and stuff like that. So I feel like at this point here, maybe Rick and Michonne have escaped, or maybe this is more of a flashback to, maybe when they first found Rick, or maybe, like when Rick actually left in the very final episode of The Walking Dead. We then get this shot here of Pearl Thorne, and she actually says here that this is all I have. And maybe she's talking with Rick. It's very possible she's talking with Rick. I really feel like, at least in terms of what we've been seeing from her, I feel like she is actually going to be a villain here in this show. Like, not right away. I feel like at first, her and Rick are going to be in the same exact place. But I think we're going to see Rick and his will to survive and to get out of here just sort of, I guess win. And she's going to be like, this is all I have. And she's going to eventually, I think she will probably just join the Civic Republic military. I think she will, in that sense, become a villain. Like, I don't know if she's going to be a villain in the sense that she's going to try and kill Rick Grimes or something like that. I think she's just going to be more like, what, I'm not going to try and escape. And I think if Rick is trying to escape or do something against the Civic Republic, she might have issues with it eventually, right? Which is just going to feel probably pretty insane, because I think in the beginning, it's going to feel very much like her and Rick are pretty much on the same side. But I think as we go through, the first season or the first 6 episodes here, we're going to see them, I think, start to see things differently here. And then, we get this one shot of Michonne. We got this shot before, but I just wanted to point it out because it's a newer shot, and I don't know what this is from. Like, is this like later on? Is this from episode 5 or 6? Because the outfit she's wearing is like totally not like anything she's wearing. Maybe this is a dream sequence or something, but this is totally like not related to anything that we've seen in in the past. So my assumption is that this could be from the finale. This shot could actually be from the very last episode of the show, or at least of the first season. I'm just going to assume that this is just like the first season of the show, but yeah, anyways. Then we get this shot here of Michonne, and I was talking about this before, and we actually see her jump out of this truck here, and yeah, she kills walkers. Now, I wanted to talk about this shot here where we do see Jadis, and I will say that the CGI here looks a little silly, but like, it's just this one scene here. I mean, not everything's going to be completely perfect, but Michonne obviously for sure is driving in this truck here. I believe Rick is probably here as well, and Jadis is here. So it actually looks like we're going to get this battle here, this battle scene between Michonne, Rick, and Jadis. So I wonder if Jadis is actually going to die in this scene. Like maybe she actually dies here in this first season. I'm not sure, but it looks like there's actually going to be a fight here between all of them here, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. I mean, first of all, I will say I think it would be cool if Rick wasn't here, just because I think it would be really amazing to get Michonne and Jadis just in a scene together where they can sort of just like argue about a bunch of stuff, because Jadis saved Rick's life, right? But obviously took Rick away. But if Jadis left Rick there, Rick would have died. So in that sense, Michonne's going to be upset, but also like, thank you because you did save him. But obviously, I think she's going to be way more upset because like Rick's not allowed to leave right now. So there's a lot of emotion there. I think that we could see, and I think it would be a really incredible scene. But then we get this shot here of a bunch of walkers. And again, I think this right here is like, this has to be a dream sequence right here. Like, I'm assuming that this is a dream sequence of killing walkers. Like, Rick has just killed so many walkers that it's gotten to the point here where he's just dreaming of them, because this just looks insane. Like, just the mist here and everything, and just the way the walkers look, it looks like a dream sequence here. Like we see in this next shot here, we see Rick killing walkers. It's possible it's not a dream sequence, and maybe this is actually something that is just happening here. Maybe this is where Rick actually escapes, because at this point here, he still has his hand. I don't know, maybe this is how he loses his hand, but I feel like in order for this to be real, it just kind of looks insane. I mean, maybe it's possible, I guess, but these walkers and just this nighttime shot in general just looks very dreamlike, so I'm just assuming it's a dream sequence. We then see some cool shots of Michonne in her armor, and yeah, you could just really see the gold around it now. Before it was much more dull, but here in this shot here, you can just like, it's really popping out here. And then we get this final shot here of Michonne, and yeah, then it just says The Walking Dead, the ones who live, and yeah, just absolutely incredible. And I will point out again that at the very end, it says new series February 25th. It doesn't say limited series or anything like that. Obviously, a limited series, you could call it a new series, so this could just be a new series. But so far, you know, just in terms of the promotion and all that, they're not really saying that this is a limited series, come check out like this limited series and all that. They're just kind of saying like there's this new series coming out, and maybe that's more intentional, you know, like maybe, you know, in terms of promoting, if they believe that fans, you know, thinking that there could be a season 2 will watch this more, you know, maybe like, I don't know, to me that makes no sense, because if this was really the end, then you would want to promote that a lot, right? Like you would want to promote it like this is the end, this is the last of Rick and Michonne, because people are really going to check it out afterwards, right? But they're kind of promoting it like, oh, this is a new series, this is a new story beginning right away, and a lot of the limited series talk has just sort of went away, at least in terms of promotion and all of that. Like I know the actress who plays Pearl Thorne, she said something the other day. She said 6 episodes limited or whatever, or limited 6 episodes. I don't remember exactly what she said, but like, again, she might not know everything entirely, right? Like she might have been just a part of the first season. That might have been what the plan was originally, and then just sort of once the show started to actually, you know, all the episodes were done and getting edited and whatnot, once Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera actually saw the quality of everything, they're probably like, yeah, you know, we'll do a season 2. So yeah, I don't know, but this trailer looks absolutely incredible. And yeah, I apologize for like the long trailer breakdowns, but I think you guys do like it, because I used to keep it around like 10 to 15 minutes, but I noticed you guys like the discussion part about it, and not just, you know, here's this fact about it, here's this fact about it, oh, in this scene you see this kind of thing. Like it seems like you guys kind of like more of a discussion about what is happening here, so that's sort of what I've been focusing on more. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. We're 1 month away exactly as of today, so yeah, obviously I'm very excited. So post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.